Hi, welcome back. We're here with Doris again, my friend, and we're going to continue on with part 4 or episode 4 with Doris, and we're going to move into some more beautiful stories. Yeah, let's move into what some of the best resources that you utilized for Jordan and that you still utilize today, I think, that have been your saving grace.
Yeah, I'd say that my saving grace was this family support worker that we had with one of the agencies in Red Deer, and her, she was support for families, especially when they were first born. And she was the one that helped me learn that it was okay to fight. That, because I didn't want to say, she said, you've got to fight for him to get things. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I fought, she'd get all excited and she'd say, good for you. Like, see, look what you got now. Mm-hmm. And she'd see me cry or whatever. Then she became like a close friend. Like, that was her job, but I thought of her as a friend. Mm-hmm. And she got us through a lot of hurdles, and she was the one that she would know what resources were out there.
Okay.
Because that was her job.
Yes.
And
which organization was she with?
It used to be called Red Deer Association for the Mentally Handicapped, but now it has been changed and it's called Parkland Class now.
Okay, yes. I'm familiar with this.
And then we were with CARS as well, and I became the parent liaison for CARS, that Central Alberta Rehabilitation Society. And it's a different name now as well, but I can't remember what it's called. But they were the one that started the host family program.
Okay.
And we were the second ones in Central Alberta to get matched. And I went to my girlfriend that was a special ed teacher, and they were so good to our family. She won an award from the province of Alberta for working with the disabled. And one of the main reasons that she won this award is that she had worked with Jordan as a host family, and he went there on and off for 21 years.
That was the second question I was going to ask you. How long did you utilize that host family?
For 21 years,
wow.
Because he was at home until he was 21.
Yeah.
And then he went to proprietorship to begin with, mm-hmm. because there wasn't any openings in a group home. And I didn't want to put him in the place that he went to begin with. Mm-hmm. Do you know what a proprietorship is? Do you or not?
Well,
it's where a couple will take a disabled child into their home and they raise him or they support him, like, so he can have his life. It was kind of a similar. They did everything for him like what I did, except he just lived somewhere else. He wasn't living with me anymore.
So this is under the title of like a group home or
it's through an agency as well, but it's called proprietorship because group homes are very expensive.
Right.
And the government stopped building new group homes because it was expensive, and they were doing no more new 24-hour group homes unless it was for severe behaviors.
And this is in Alberta, or yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so how they got around this, for when kids wanted to move out or the parents just couldn't cope anymore, they did proprietorship. And a couple would apply, and then they would take a disabled person into their home and they would support them.
Okay.
Like they would have outreach during the day, and then they would go back there in the evenings or on the weekend, and they'd stay for the weekends, or else they'd come home to our place or wherever he went. Mm-hmm. And our first home that he went to, it only lasted for 7 months because there was a lot of things that were happening in that home.
That you weren't accepting.
Well, they had problems where they were at before. There was rumors that there was drugs being happening in that home, and that Jordan was left alone at times. And we had people that came to us, talked to my husband about it, and so we pulled him out of there. The next one that he went to, they were much better, but they ended up getting a divorce, and Jordan was right in the middle of that mess.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, because he told us some stuff, and we had heard some stuff from the neighbors. So they talked to him, and it sounded like there was some pushing, and someone fell against a closet door, smashed in.
Yeah.
So he was pulled out of there. The third home we went to, they were very, very good, and he did really well there. But I pulled him out because there was an opening in the group home in Innisfail, and I wanted the group home. Best thing we ever did, because shortly after I put him in there, this couple, the husband got a transfer and they had to move.
Okay.
So we would have been looking again. And the group home has been remarkable. We were with Catholic Social Services, and I really like the home. He's been there for 14 years, and some of the staff that were there when he first moved in are still there.
Yeah, yeah.
And how good is this when someone comes up to you and says, you know, at times I've thought about quitting because I don't like certain things with other staff or management or whatever, but I just can't quit because I love your son so much.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
And so, you know, when you have people that actually care for him that much, like they love him. Like he said, oh, they're my extended family, Mom. And they are really good to him. Like there is not one staff that mistreats him. And there's 3 of them there, and he loves his roommates too.
Yeah, like, Christine loves the home she's in too. She's 20-some years. But there's a very difficult decision too, is when they reach 18, who, like, are we now no longer their guardians?
We applied.
What happens at 18, 21?
We applied for guardianship and trusteeship for Jordan. And we started on our own, but it was just so complicated.
Was it really?
Yeah, so we went to a lawyer. And it's a big, lengthy process, even with the lawyer.
Yeah.
It took about 6 months. And so we got guardianship and trusteeship.
Okay.
We actually get to, we've got the power that we can say that where he lives, who he associates with, what programs he does, and then we are in charge of his finances as well. And then 7 years later, you were supposed to reapply. The lawyer we had at that time got it so that she wanted us to have alternate guardians. And so both of our daughters are the alternate guardians. And we can decide when we want them to take it over. And they're very responsible about it. We just had we have yearly meetings, like with the government.
Oh,
like,
do you?
Yes, to see how Jordan's doing.
And who is the government? Who do you have a meeting with?
Oh, well, it used to be called...
What program?
Yeah, it used to be called PDD, Persons with Developmental Disabilities.
Okay, yeah.
But now it's just called Disability Services.
Okay.
And they are actually the ones, that was the board that I was on.
Okay.
But they're actually the ones that fund the agencies.
Okay.
They fund the agencies so that they can have the kids, I call them kids, but they can have the clients in a home and they can provide staffing for them.
And the staffing, yeah.
And then they've got programs that they follow and stuff. So once a year, we have a meeting, and they call it the ISP or whatever. I'm not sure exactly.
Like, is it like an individual plan that you run through? Yeah.
And they just go on like what Jordan's strengths are, what he's worked on, and like this year we just had it, and my daughter was home.
Okay, yeah.
So she was able to, you know, comment as well what she wanted, and they got certain chores that they do, and Jordan has to take his turn cooking, and he cooks once a week. And then they do meal planning together, and they all get to sort of say, I'd like to have this, and they go grocery shopping together. And so he's got some response. He does his own laundry. Like they assist him with that. And he cleans his room and whatever else they ask him to do. And he's out and about every day. Like, it's very good in Alberta because with the AISH and how they've got it set up in the group homes, like he has to pay rent. Like everybody else, he pays rent and his portions of the utilities and stuff. And then they take him out. but really his life is better than someone that's on minimum wage.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. Because
his needs are being met.
Mhm.
He's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
responsible
Because somebody
for
that
what
was
he
on
needs
minimum wage probably couldn't live in the home
Mhm.
that he does.
Let's talk a little bit about Aish. So Aish, again, describe your relationship with Aish, because mine's different with my son, who is on Aish, than it is with my sister, who is also
Okay.
on a different kind of Aish in Manitoba, right?
Oh, okay.
So what is that supposed to cover? When does it come? How, like, what are the qualifications for Aish?
When he first went on Aish, I had to meet with the worker.
And again, Aish is assisted income for severely handicapped, which is the word we don't like, really.
And she met him, and they have to sort of assess whether or not they can work or not.
Mhm.
And she said, well, this is a shut, and because Jordan's got such a short pension span,
Mhm.
and he's disabled, so he had no trouble getting on it.
Right.
And he makes just under $2,000 a month. But with the 3 people that are in that home, his expenses for his portion of rent and utilities are about $11.50 a month.
Right.
So then he gets $35 a week that he goes to the bank every week and takes out his $35, and all the tellers make a big fuss over him and everything. He likes it all in fives.
I love it. He likes it all in fives?
Yeah, all in fives, please.
$35 in fives.
Before, if he used to give him a 20, he'd have a big fit, but now he's gotten over it, and they know it now that he likes it in fives. And then we give him $80 a month, and that's for his, shampoo. And
you give him that?
Well, it's out of that money as well.
Out of that money, yeah.
So he has about $300 a month left over that we save. And now we get him, the government is very good. They have a registered disability savings plan.
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
And we put in $1,500 a year, and then they have a grant. No, they more than match it. They put in $3,500, and he can do that.
Wow.
Yeah, and he can do that for several years. I think I can't remember exactly how many years they have it, but he has over $100,000 now in this fund.
That's wild.
Yeah, and so that will help when he gets older, when he goes on senior's pension or something.
Yeah. What are the qualifications for that grant or for that funding? No, it's RSCP?
Registered Disability Savings Plan.
Okay, and that's through the bank?
No, that's through the government.
That's through the government. Okay. I don't know that we have that kind of a program. I'm definitely, we do, but I don't know about Manitoba, right?
I don't know.
It's across Canada.
I think it's across Canada.
Okay.
I think
definitely something to look into if you haven't already for anyone listening out
and
there.
And so that's been really good.
Yeah.
And to be on Aish, you are allowed now to have a house or a car.
Yes.
Because some people have become disabled after an adult, and they've already got a home.
Right. And you can also work and collect a paycheck when you're disabled.
Yes.
It's the ones that cannot out there to work and need that type of assistance for sure.
He tried to get a job, but his attention span is so short. And I think you have to work for a minimum of 3 hours, and there's just no way he can do that.
Yeah. My sister Christine, through her Family Visions program, she did work. She went out to a grocery store and stocked shelves and did things like that for over 20 years. And so that was good for her, right? Yeah. Walk me through some friendships that Jordan had. And again, let's work into some female relationships he's had as well. Because I know he's a handsome man. And he's
so there were several programs it was called Red Deer College at that time for people with disabilities. And I put him in one that was on a relationship one.
Okay.
And so they had 2 classes, and they both were they taught them, like, it's okay to have a relationship with someone disabled. And that was good because what was happening, his sisters would have their friends over, and he was seeing his sisters dating, and then his sisters would have their friends over. And he couldn't date any of their, if he would have been a regular guy, he probably would have been going after his sister's friends.
For sure
but he was
yeah,
still,
yeah.
But he got mad because nobody would date him.
Yeah.
And so I put him in
many boys do, and girls,
So I put him in this class, and there was 2 classes, and they talked about relationships and stuff. So then they had the one class met the other class, and they were supposed to try to find somebody that they might like to have a relationship with. Mm-hmm. So this one girl sat down with him, and she asked him out.
Oh.
And so they decided that they were going to meet the next week at one of the restaurants at the college. So we dressed him up all nice and fixed his hair up and everything. He looked pretty spiffy. He was pretty excited, and we gave him extra money to pay for, her meal and stuff. So then we went back to pick him up, and we saw her marching out of the college like mad.
Oh boy.
Then he kind of comes stumbling out, and he's kind of looking down and everything. And I said to him, "Well, how'd the date go?" "Well, she's mad at me." And I said, "Well, why?" He goes, "Well, she wasn't talking too much. I started talking to this other girl. So then I asked her out. Then she got really mad because I wanted to date the other girl. And I said, well, you don't ask somebody out for a date in front of your date that you're already with." So
what a player.
Yeah. So anyway, he went out with the next girl, and that went not too bad. But then the first girl got a hold of the second girl and told her what it was like. And then they both dumped.
Love triangle.
So then they both dumped him. And then he says, "I've had enough of that date and stuff."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've had enough of that. So that was his big romance. So now if you ask him if he wants a girlfriend, no, I like being single.
I like being single. Good for him.
Yeah.
It's probably good. Let's talk about, your other 2 daughters, because I know with my brother and me, we were definitely like a parent to her as well. We had responsibilities. It wasn't like we didn't go shopping together. We didn't go to spas together. We didn't do those kind of sibling things that you do with siblings as you get older. How was that in your home with your 2 daughters and the relationship that you have with him now, I suppose, too, right?
Well, they're both very close to him and very proud of him. But it was hard.
Yeah.
Like, I think my oldest daughter, she had a lot of responsibility, and that's followed her into adulthood because she's in management now, and she still takes on a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
And the youngest one, there was resentment, rebellion. Mm-hmm. Okay. She was very rebellious as growing up. And, they kept saying, well, they're probably going to resent your brother, but they didn't resent him. Mm-hmm. They resented me. Yes. Because they felt that they missed out on a lot of things because I wasn't there for them. Because I had to be so focused on him and getting his things. And I tried my darndest. It was like pulling my hair out. Yeah. And I worried, and I tried to prevent it. I tried to do the one-on-one with them. I tried to do special things, holidays, everything. But I'm not perfect.
No, you're not. No. And with me and my family, we ran a business. We ran a restaurant and a motel and a gas station when I was 10 and my sister was 3. And so you can imagine a 3-year-old running around, because we lived in the same area, like just behind the restaurant. We were attached to it. So from her bedroom to the front counter of the restaurant, she would often run out in her diaper. And customers would see that. So this is how we grew up with her, and it was always get her out of the restaurant, get her out of there, get her out of here. And so we were babysitters for our sister. And I probably grew up with a lot of jealousy because and I'm going to admit it, she got all the attention and I didn't. And so I was definitely an attention seeker and extremely jealous that my parents were just, everything was about her. She was a perfect child. She could do no wrong. And then, sometimes, why can't you be more like your sister? Well, I can't be like my sister because I'm not, right? So there was definitely a lot of resentment and jealousy in my part. And it was never against my sister. It was always against my parents. And I think growing up as children, in being a shadow, it's difficult for sure, But definitely now I've come to realize that as parents and family members, there's no choice. There's no choice, and you do what you have to do, and you live in survival mode constantly, right? Every single day. But you get through it, right? And today we're happy, we're satisfied. Christine is in a good place. You know, mom and dad have done everything they can to make sure that she's going to be in a safe place. And their wish for her has come true. She's, you know, lived a full life. She's 54. You know, we were told she probably wouldn't live to 23, if that, and the same kinds of advice that you got. Put her in a group home. You know, she'll never walk, she'll never talk, she'll never do this, she'll never do that. And she hit all of those milestones and then some, and I'm sure Jordan has as well, right? So
I think that they have the scars, but
I think you have a lot of scars too, though, right?
Yes.
And that's okay to have scars, because that's why we're here. That's why we're sharing all of this, to advocate and understand that it's not hard.
Well, and I think that
it's not easy, is what I mean.
Well,
sorry.
I will be honest with you. There's times when I was raising him, I felt like I was being abused.
Yeah.
And it was abused from the system. And
society, how they look at you.
Yes.
Like, what did you do wrong?
I actually even had someone come up to me. I've had several things people come up to me and say, well, when you were pregnant with him, did you drink?
Yeah. Oh,
and
yes, my mom got that too.
Yeah. And then I've had other people say to me quite often, well, is he your only child? And I said, no, I've got 3. Well, they all like him.
Yes.
I had that as well. But now I don't get that anymore because it's so exposed. And people just think, they just kind of look at him as Jordan. And a lot of people get really excited when they see him because he's got a personality to burn.
Oh, he does. Yes, he does.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, like you say, you learn to help others. Some of my pain, if I can make it better for somebody else, then fine. Like I said before, I started volunteering because it made me feel better.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus, it's that's a resource for you too, and support.
Yeah, I did a lot of volunteering. Maybe I did too much. Sometimes I was, you know, like my husband was never home. But then if I did any volunteering, then I wasn't home either. And yes, I only worked part-time. But as you know, to keep a house, you're busy. Yes. And then I had all these other extra things on top, you know, for him, for all his therapy and all his lessons, and then plus 2 other kids for all their lessons and stuff. I was at my max. My stress level was just extreme because I had these 3 kids, and it was like a heavy load. And I did the best I could, and that's all I can tell everybody is I did the very best I could.
Yeah. You know, and sitting here talking to you, it's like speaking to my mom, right? Because she raised 2 other children, plus me, ran a business, had married, committed to her community, went to church all the time, lived this perfect, you know, world, and yet here there's nothing perfect about it, right?
Yeah.
And I remember that she too got to her max, and she had a breakdown and ended up in the hospital. Probably about 6 to 8 months before we sold the restaurant. So we had it for about 6 years, and it was 24/7, raising a family and running a business. And she crashed and ended up in the hospital for, she told us it was pleurisy, whatever that means at that time, but I really think it was a breakdown. And 6 months later, the restaurant was sold, and we moved into a house, and they retired.
Yeah.
For a short time, but it takes a toll. Definitely, it takes a toll.
I had to go on antidepressants when he was about 6 or 7 because it was just the stress.
Yeah.
I don't think that I actually had a mental breakdown, but I went through depressions because of all the stress.
Yeah, I don't think that that's unnormal either, or not natural, because you do go through so many stages of moods, and you know, this season of life with him and that season of life with her, and trips. And I remember we went to Disneyland with my sister, and we went on a tour of the Queen Mary ship. I'm not sure if you're familiar with how big that boat is, but we weren't even on it for probably 10 minutes, and my sister was gone. She was lost. All she did was turn around somewhere and took a walk. So if you didn't have your eyes on her or you were attached to her constantly, she would be gone. So this is, here we are in California on the Queen Mary, and we've lost a little girl of 7 years old. Right? Yeah.
That, we went to Disneyland as well. I remember picking up extra shifts at work. And so of course, that was our one dream. We wanted to take the kids to Disneyland before they moved out. And we finally did it, but our oldest daughter was 17.
Okay.
But I worked extra shifts, and I saved and I saved and I saved, and that was our big trip.
Yeah.
And we were gone for 3 weeks. But the same thing, we had to watch Jordan at all times. But when we went to Disneyland, they were very good to us. He got in front of the line kind of thing.
Nice.
And they had special things, and they told us at that time to have him in a wheelchair. And I think the wheelchair helped.
Did it?
Because he had to sit in this wheelchair. He couldn't take off. And that's probably why they did it.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so they wouldn't wander.
And did he take off a lot? Was he a runner?
No, he wasn't. I was lucky that way. He would go visit the neighbors and stuff like that. And our one neighbor was very good to him, and they're still friends. But she worked with people with disabilities. But she was really good. There was only a couple of times I was really worried about him. Somebody had stopped out front, and Jordan was over there talking to him, and I just happened to look outside, and Jordan was going to get in the vehicle with the fellow.
Boy.
And I don't know. Then as soon as the guy saw me, he took off, and I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah.
I don't know to this day. I asked Jordan, and Jordan said he asked him for directions. And I said, why did you try to get in the vehicle with him? And he said, I don't know. The guy told me to get in. So I don't know what happened there.
Okay.
But he's never wandered off. We've been very lucky that way.
Yeah, I think there was even a time my sister, a car came up to the gas pump, and I think she got into the car somehow, and they drove off with her in the back seat. And it wasn't maybe 20 minutes later, probably sooner than that. I remember my parents telling me this story. I don't remember it happening because I was probably at school. But they drove back with my sister, of course, and said, we have something that belongs to you. And here my sister got out of the back seat, probably in a diaper as well. There was another story. We had to take her to the hospital, and she walked straight home from the hospital, right straight past the nurses in a diaper. She had to go down one straight road and walked right into the back of the restaurant and said, I'm home. And here we are running a busy noon hour lunch, and she's there in a diaper. Walked home from the hospital.
Well, we never had that. The only other time that we had it is after, when he went to the Old Horizon, there was a lady that would drive a van, and she would drop off the kids at home. She dropped them off at home, and I wasn't home yet, and the front door was locked. So he was trying to get in somewhere. He knew enough that he had to go to one of the neighbors. And so finally, one of the neighbors let him in. And then when I pulled up, he wasn't home, and I was freaking out. And finally the neighbor came over and said, he's here, don't worry, he's here. And then they told me what happened.
Yeah.
But someone must have told him, or he thought himself, to go to the neighbors if I wasn't home, which I thought was very good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
So as we're wrapping up, let's talk a little bit about what are the best resources for someone who, I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I need some help. I don't know where to go. Where could we steer them? What could we share would be maybe the first top 3 places, or top 3 choices, or top 3
well, usually
things to do?
Yeah, usually the doctors or the nurses at the hospital or social worker or something will give you
so your medical
resources.
staff probably first. Yeah.
And then they'll refer you to, depending on when you want services, they'll refer you to children's services.
Yeah.
And then you'll be matched with.
And is that Children's Services of Red Deer, or is it Catholic
No, it's a government. Like it might be disability services for children now as well, and then they set you up. But things have changed a lot from when Jordan was born. Like I said, society has changed, and I think what the government was trying to do is to go back to the old ways to try to save money. You know, that neighbors will step up, other people will help. That's the one thing when I want him in Innisfail, and I said, well, I want him in Innisfail. I said, because he can come home, or we can take him out for coffee, or people can come and visit, and it will save you guys money because we're here, and we'll take him out, and other friends and relatives will take him out. And it has worked that way. But the government's not as generous because we don't have as much money as what we used to, because the baby boomers have retired. So I think Jordan used to get something like 12 or 14 hours a week of aid, you know, like one-on-one aids, and they would come 2 or 3 times a week. And now I think they're lucky if they can get 4.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's and now kids are having to stay at home longer because they don't have the group homes, and it's harder to get somebody to do a proprietorship. So it's going back to the old ways where people that have disabled children, they're living with their family longer.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the best choice for a lot of families too, because they don't, I don't know, I don't know that they want to raise their children outside of their own home as well. Do you?
I don't know. Why we put Jordan in the group home is because he was getting very difficult to manage.
Yeah, for sure.
And we didn't want our daughters, if something happened to us, to make that choice. And we didn't want to burden them to have to look after him. And that's why we put him. But it was the hardest thing I ever did. I felt like I had abandoned him.
Yeah, definitely difficult. Okay, so we want to talk a little bit about how having a neurodivergent sibling in your home has changed your personality or changed your way of thinking or have made you more resilient in other aspects of your life.
Well, I know that when Jordan was at home, my mother said this to me. She said, you know, he was like a leash behind you because everywhere you went, you had to take him. And when I did put him in a group home, I found that things had changed because everywhere I went, if I went anywhere, I had to take him with me. And if I did go out, like my oldest daughter, she would help me out, which I really much appreciated. But I just found that my friends back then when he was at home were people that either worked in the field or they had a disabled child themselves. I felt so often that I didn't fit in because I remember people even saying to me, well, we'd have you over for supper, but my husband just has a hard time with Jordan or something. And that's really ignorant when you think about it. But that's the way it was. And some of our friends, like, they wouldn't come around because they just didn't know how to handle Jordan. And it wasn't until after he moved out, it took a while, that I started to kind of live my own life as it was. It was like my life was given back to me. And
so you feel like you lost a lot of...
I did, and I think, but you know, I talked to my oldest daughter about this the other day, and she said, well, that's families. You know, and I said, you know, I'm doing this interview, and I really appreciate everything that you did do. And the youngest one as well, you know. My oldest daughter, like, she's wonderful. Like, she's like I'm so blessed. Like, she's like a best friend. And she says, well, Mom, that's families. Families learn and grow and change all the time. And I think that now that we're grandparents, like when my daughter came home the other day, she made some statement that, you know, now I really understand how parents love their children. Because I've never thought I could ever love anything as much as I love this little baby. And so I think that they're realizing it. And I had a lot of resentment at times growing up for my own father.
Yeah,
because he was very, very successful businessman and very respected in the community. But he was never home, and if he was home, he was so stressed out, and the stress would come out on us kids. But you know, sometimes you harbor that stuff, but you can't. But you know, I realized that he loved us kids, and I'm hoping that my kids will think of me after I'm gone as a pioneer. Because that's basically what I was.
You were.
I was a pioneer that had to go through all this.
You are,
And I was not perfect, and I apologize to them, but I did the best I could. But you know, they could have had someone that was gone all the time in the bars, or they could have had someone that had, you know, multiple men in their house, and that they were, that there were so many different things. It's just life, unfortunately. But you know, we got a beautiful young man out of it, and they're so proud of him. Like, that's the highlight of our family.
Yeah, and I think it's important too that we don't, like, there's no blame. This is not, like, I'm not blaming anyone, and I don't know that your children blame you either. I think it's just a lot of understanding now that there was no other way to go, and that's okay. And it does change us. I know for my mom, it made her far more patient, and it's changed the way I look at the world. Like, everybody is.
Well, I think that my role as a caregiver, like, I wouldn't have had the field I went into afterwards, after Jordan was born, if he hadn't been born first. Like, I never would have went into the medical field. And then when my parents, both of them, my dad got a severe form of very complex type of dementia, where he went verbally abusive and awful. And that was difficult to look after him, because my mom and I were the closest to them, and he took it out on us because he saw us all the time. And then my mother got dementia as well, but I became a caregiver to both of them, and I was their main caregiver because I was the closest. But I had the patience for them, whereas my brother and sister, you know, they lived too far away, but they didn't have the hands-on that I did.
Yeah, and that's definitely made you the caregiver that you are, and still are today. I mean, women are naturally caregivers to begin with, but when you're faced with something that severe, you adapt, you change, you grow, and we have definitely morphed into better people today, I think. And so if you had one last thing to tell everybody out here in TV land or podcast land, resilience, I think, is probably the most important. Would you agree?
Yes. And I think it gives you a better understanding. There's lots, the government is there to help you, but we're not a cookie cutter family. And
no family is a cookie cutter. No.
And that's one of the things, that's one of the loopholes. But you know, we've survived, and we are a close family. Like, you know, it's like our little family. Like, our son is such a joy, such a gem, because how many sons he knows how to work Messenger every night at 6 o'clock on the bell.
On the dot.
On the dot. He phones us on Messenger, and we talk to him every night.
Oh, that's so amazing.
And then we used to do this with our mother on Friday. We'd have a family chat. So every Friday at 10:30, he dials up Messenger, and both the sisters and Roy and I go on this, and we talk to him, and we have kind of a family thing. So, you know, I think our family has grown, and we've got a bond. Because I talk to some people that their kids have grown out, and they haven't talked to their kids in a couple of months. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't hear from all three of my kids, either by a text message or a messenger or a phone call or something.
That's beautiful.
You know, even if they don't really want to talk to me, I'm the one that's messaging them. At least they message me back. But you know, they're always on our mind. And like, I'm very proud of how all three of them turned out. You know, Jordan has come leaps and bounds. He's far. He's got his issues, but he's so loved. He's so loved by the town. Like, you know, they say that it takes a village to raise a child. Where it was a town.
I agree, yeah.
And they saw him, and the ones that saw him grow up, I've had older women say, that child just fascinates me. And when the mayor posted the picture of him with the sign, there was people that commented and said, the teachers, and said, I remember that little blonde-haired boy coming into the school, and he was just a beam of sunshine and so wild and so vibrant. We loved him. You know, other people would come on and say, I remember Jordan as our neighbor, and he was the best neighbor going. He was so fun.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very.
And he's to the point where he likes somebody, you know, like if he gets to, you know, like for yourself, once he gets to know you better or whatever, if you're in the mall, 5 stores down, he'll be yelling out, Pam!
Yeah, he will.
You know, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm so proud of all how they've turned out.
Yes.
Like my youngest daughter is very successful. She works for Finning, and her career has just taken right off. She's really very successful in her career and successful financially with her job. And her and her husband have a beautiful acreage just past Grand Prairie. And it's a labor of love, but it's absolutely gorgeous. And spotless housekeeper. You know, they said, well, it's because you were a messy mom or whatever. But when you got 3 kids and you work and you got this, you can't be on it 24/7.
No, you can't.
And my oldest daughter is in management. She's in Revelstoke, and she's been managing hotels, and she's managing a boutique motel now. Very successful as well. She's married, and they have a home, and they're beautiful people.
Yeah.
You know, all of them
And, you
are.
know, marriage and a home isn't for everybody, and it's not for all of our children either. And we have to go into the future knowing that and accepting that whatever life gives you, we adapt and we become resilient.
I think the kids have really become resilient from it.
I think so too.
Like, because you're going to have disappointments as life goes on. I found myself, when things would happen to us before, I'd be devastated if I got laid off from work or I couldn't cope with this and that. And like, as you know, I've had cancer twice.
Yeah.
And I think it was from all the stress. You know, they say that's one of the things that can cause cancer is stress.
Very much, yeah.
But
a lot of illness, a lot of sickness is caused from that.
But the doctors and everything have said I've got a really good attitude, because when I got diagnosed with cancer again the second time, it's down by the abdominal aorta and it's inoperable. And they wanted to send me for counseling and stuff, and they asked me a bunch of questions, and they've said, well, you know, you have come to the point where we sent you for counseling that we want you to get to. And I was able to just take my cancer diagnosis and just carry on. Where if I hadn't had Jordan, I would have been just devastated. But how I look at it, though, I learned how to deal with stress, like from him. Like, I think that part of my brain died and then finally came back to life. But it's, you know, I don't stress about things like I used to. I still stress and worry a bit. You know, I worry, you know, about certain things.
Well, for sure, yeah.
But, you know, for that, I thought, well, I've learned that you have to go day by day. And with this cancer, it's inoperable, but they've got it now, so it's stabilized. And it's in 2 of my lymph nodes as well. But they've managed to get that, so everything's just stopped. And it's just staying where it's at. But like I said to the doctor, I don't worry about it going to come and get me. Because I said, I don't have control over that.
No.
I can't control what it's going to do. I can't control if it's going to jump. I can't control that. If it happens, then I'll deal with it. But I'm not going to stress my life and lose enjoyment because of it.
That's a good attitude.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. But I think if I hadn't had Jordan, I wouldn't have been able to do that.
Well, I think that's going to wrap us up for today. I so appreciate you coming, Doris. You've been such an amazing friend to me, and thank you so much for all you've shared today. I love you so much. You know that.
We've been through thick and thin, and sometimes more thin than thick.
Than thick, right? But that's okay, because that's friendships and that's resilience, right?